It's now 6 o'clock. We call to order the meeting for the Design Review Board for April 12, 2011. Let us start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and join us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Just a few items on this evening's agenda. Let me introduce the board members first. My name is Jim Brown.
Vince Pisano.
Mark Meckes.
Bruce Smitherman.
Let the record reflect that a quorum is present. We'd like to move to our first item of business this evening, which is approval of March action minutes. Does anybody have a motion regarding the March action minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the March action minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the March action minutes as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The record reflect that it's passed 4-0. Next item is a building review for White Columns Golf Instruction Pavilion at 300 Clubhouse Drive. You hear us have a staff report about that? Any issue that we need?
Well, we don't do official staff reports, but you could probably just let the applicant explain what it is.
Okay, if the applicant's here, if they please come and address the body.
Good evening, I'm Alan Crowley, I'm an architect here in the Northwest area. This is Jason Cole. He is a member at the White Columns Golf Club, and here's a, did he do this? And basically, I think you've probably already seen the preliminary conceptual plans, elevation, and site plan. Essentially what it is if you've been to that golf course, the driving range, there's currently a mobile home, basically a mobile structure that's currently being used at the very back of the driving range for golf instruction. What they want to do is remove the basically dilapidated mobile building and put in a more permanent structure of about 1,450 square feet. And I think the plan consists of a center area, which is a little fitness area, and then two bays, which essentially have a row of doors that you can hit from that point back into the driving range. So it's kind of a building / pavilion type of structure. We're going to try to emulate the existing clubhouse, roof colors, the stone base, and so forth. So it's going to kind of match what's out there currently. It's pretty straightforward. It's probably 250, 300 feet from the nearest property line. It's buffered by the first and ninth hole, so it's not very visible, but I think actually it's going to look much better than what's currently there.
Any questions of the applicant?
We're going to try and match the same physical features that the clubhouse currently has with the structure that we're going to be building. They've got stack stone on the current
Water
clubhouse.
table.
Yeah, the water table. We're going to use that same stack stone. I've got a picture of it, which you can't really see very well, but I tried to do it out.
Same colors.
Same stack stone.
I don't have any questions. Are there any residents affected? I mean, is it even visible from?
I don't think you can see it.
Okay.
What if
It's literally at least 120 yards from the nearest house. It's just wooded all between that, the first hole, and then more woods, and then the neighborhood. So there's really no.
If it's to replace a trailer, I think that they'd all be, I think they'd be okay with it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess the only comment I would have is that this is probably the least invasive thing we've looked at in a really long time. 300 feet from any place. I'm not going to condition it, but I think it would look pretty snappy to have a little cupola and a leather van on top of it. That's right. So, any other comments?
Public comment?
Any public comment about this particular app? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the building review, I guess. Make a motion we approve the building review of White Columns Golf Instruction Pavilion as presented. Second to your motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the White Columns Golf Instruction Pavilion at 300 Clubhouse Drive as submitted. Discussion? Call for question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 4-0. Good luck on your project, gentlemen.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next item on this evening's agenda is a courtesy review for a garage addition at 195 Black Rock Trace. The intent is to reduce the side yard setback. Is the applicant here? Our representative?
Thank you, gentlemen. My name is Willie Medina, and I am here on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. French. And what we're looking at is a three-car garage attached to this existing residence, and we're looking for a 7-foot variance on the sideline. You had a chance to look at the footprint of this thing relative to the subdivision layout and the neighbors on the, really on the left bottom, if you will. The house sits really back on this cul-de-sac lot. The lot really widens at the backside, and the nearest neighbor really is on the bottom left side of this property. If you were standing in the neighbor's back porch, 150 feet, you would see the new garage. Matching in finishes the exact house, the front columns in the porch, the same brick, the same roof structure, gables, window treatments, etc. So really it's an extension of the house. We've ran it past the association committee. They've signed off on it. In fact, coincidentally, the president of that association had gone himself for a variance for something similar in his property. We've gotten the blessing pretty much from the neighbor that's most affected, which would be the left side neighbor, which would be the only one that would see that from their house. And then also we secured a letter of approval from the neighbor on the right-hand side. Neighbors on the back of the property are really quite a distance away, back-to-back backyards. And it being farmland, it's pretty wide open. The entire area is going to get landscaped, complete makeover, right down to feeding area for wildlife because they enjoy that as well. We are trying to keep as much as the nature of the backyard as possible. So for that, we've had the help of our friends from the Arborist Department here in Milton, and they've gone out there and we've pinpointed which trees we're taking out and what we're going to do to replace and what have you. And so we feel that we've covered all of our bases with this structure. Short of course, the 7-foot that we're looking for.
Okay, thank you, sir. Comments?
Thank you.
Well, were you aware of the setback when the design was put together?
Well, here's the thing about how the design has evolved, and I think I heard one of you say over there they designed it and they didn't realize it. These people have been dreaming this up since 2006. So I came into the picture this year, and this thing was already hashed out. And we did get involved in why they're spending all this money on adding onto this house and making it for their use. And that's really what drove it. So while they have a 2-car garage right now, they can only park 1.5 cars in there. I think you know what I'm talking about. They're quite narrow. So in an effort to make sure that they can park their vehicles in their garages, we've made those garages a little bit wider than the usual. The concern that Dr. French had as well, and it's not immediate, but his mom at some point may come to reside with him, and she may be wheelchair bound, and so the center garage, which is the 2-car part of the equation, that thing is 20-foot wide, allowing for cars to park in there, and you were able to open the doors and get out without having to back another one out. So really, it was driven by efficiency in the use of their space for their daily living.
Well, I'm going to beat up on you because you're here, even though you don't deserve it. First of all, we're an advisory body on this particular issue, and this is a courtesy review, so there's nothing we can vote on, and not enough real information here to really, make a determination about the aesthetics of it. Mm-hmm. Usually, the idea of a variance means that you are dealing with an issue that wasn't self-created. We have seen from the body that deals with this that several of the applications that have come to it and been successful, they've been successful by proving that it doesn't hinder the uses of those things around it. So the kind of things that you've done so far, which are getting letters from the adjacent homeowners and that kind of stuff, to show, which is the body that votes on this, Angela? Okay. that's going to work, because they're going to make the final determination. We're just going to give an advisory from an aesthetic standpoint. Candidly, aesthetically, looks like a site plan, so. But if you go to the idea that a variance is something that you can't control, you could come up with 500,000 designs on this site to be able to accomplish this without having a variance. So that's going to be a function of another body to determine. It'll come back to us, and then what we will look at mostly is to try and determine whether or not the aesthetics of the expansion look like and are appropriate with the neighborhood and that kind of stuff. So from what we can contribute to this particular issue is that, I think, what we've seen other applicants like your owner be successful with is to make an appeal that shows that their extension, while it is at variance with the code, does not negatively impact everybody around them.
Correct.
So for us, for our purposes, and that's not something we worry about because we're not dealing with land use issues per se in that kind of way. So I guess the bad news is that they were going to ask me, do you think this is self-created? Yeah, I think that the applicant self-created it. Whether that's going to be influential to them, they voted favorably on several applications similar to this.
Yeah.
And candidly, ones that were more intrusive of the setback than this. And there's one in my neighborhood that I was actually kind of surprised that they granted one, which comes to within 7 feet of the property line. So it's more than a 7-foot variance.
Do you live where I'm building?
And
Because
so-
our president in the association,
Yeah.
he got 18 feet.
Did he?
So he's within 7 feet.
In Redstone?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's my homeowner association president.
Oh, there you go.
Small world.
Yeah.
Small world. I think
Must be Milton, huh? So clearly, this can be done, and there's that body views it differently than I would. But good news is, I'm not the one voting on it, right?
If you have one affected neighbor, it would probably be helpful to have that pinned down, and I would think.
In writing.
In writing, have some letter or note from them.
Another thing Mark did.
we have that.
Another thing
We'll
that Mark
bring that
did.
with you the next time.
Yeah. Another thing that Mark did, which was pretty helpful, is he took pictures of
Well, you
the
know
location.
him. See, of course you do.
Yeah. He could kind of show, this is what it looks like from the right-of-way, and this is what it looks like from the neighbor's house and that stuff. So,
Okay.
I guess the bad news is, I'm not sure that we can give you much help from our aesthetic standpoint on what we have before us. Anybody have any comments about that? I mean, it looks like an appropriate expansion. It's pretty tight as the bird mouth faces the,
But I guess the curiosity of mine, and maybe one of your questions you're going to get raised is, why don't you move it back 7 feet? I mean,
Yeah, you could
you
just
see like you have the room.
slide the whole thing back. And
Well, the bay on the left side, which is the one that touches on the sod line, that
Right.
bay is already 37 foot deep, as compared to the center bay, which is only 26 foot deep.
No, let me move the whole
We'll
structure
take the
back.
entire, and slide it along the building 7 feet.
Yeah,
Drops all.
the way that land sits and the way that pie shapes to the back, you really have to push that building almost 15 feet to the back of that house before you gain that 7 foot on the side.
I understand that, but I mean, if I'm looking at this property and say, look at the size of this property, and they're going to eat up another 15 feet, cry me a river.
Yeah.
So, I mean, luckily, once again, I'm not voting on it. So,
Will they be looking at the subdivision survey that shows the lay of the land and the neighbors and the property lines for everybody else? Because I think that'll tell them.
I think if I were you and you wanted them to see that information, I would provide it.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure that they're going to go looking for it. I think that the more complete your application is to them, the better you're going to be. I mean, so make your case the best way you can. You have one shot at it. So,
We have, Angela, we have the plans. We've got the architectural drawings.
Well,
May I?
have you, yeah, we submitted
Let me see.
separately. I have the,
That one, and then do we have an elevation?
have you submitted one
Mm-hmm.
to me or for the permit?
I think it's you and that.
what we're looking at a site plan.
That's all you have?
That's what we have.
Okay. No, I did not see
Just
you.
along those lines, I need you to, I guess, redo the letter, just more specifics, but it's in your email.
Okay, I'll look at that. Yeah, and we do have full, obviously this is not them, but we do have full architectural drawings, and we've got full engineering drawings already done for this thing. That show the plan, the square
Right.
footage.
When you come back, after you have your variance and you're good and ready for your building permit, you'll be back here.
Yep.
Then we'll look at all that stuff, and then we'll determine how that ties in from an aesthetic standpoint.
Okay.
It would have been nice if you have it tonight, we could have responded to that, to give you an idea about what some heads up are. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, I have the plans in my truck, if I could step out for 2 seconds.
well, there's nobody out there waiting, so I might as well, if you can make it quick, we'll wait for you.
I will.
At least that way we might be able to be actually helpful.
Yeah.
Seems a little extreme that he'd have to slide it back 15 feet to gain 7 feet.
I don't see that. I mean,
You know, it's almost a perfect equilateral triangle.
yeah, I don't know what, if you just
Slide back 7
slide
feet.
back 7 feet.
Let's spread some of these. Yeah, this is the front of the structure. Okay, so I'm looking at this one here. To the left of me is the existing house. And then the new brick, you can see the doors, you can see the breezeway. That's the new structure. So that's what it looks like from the front, which is really just like the house. And then on the bottom is what it looks like from the rear. And then on this bottom left is what it looks like from the side. So it really is in keeping with every finish that's in the existing house, as well as the finishes that are pretty predominant throughout the subdivision. Brick where there is brick, siding where there is siding, same size and type of windows on the front with the grills, on the back without the grills, that type of stuff.
It's going to be just about impossible to perceive this against any other piece of architecture, right? I mean, you're so far from anything else. It's not like you have to match implicitly any other building.
The only way that you're going to see, you live there, you can drive it. When you drive up, you'll see it. I mean, if you're down here looking at the cul-de-sac hill, which is really what it is, it's a very long driveway. The house is way back there.
Yeah.
You'll see it, and when you look at it, you'll be looking at the house.
This is the one that's way up the hill, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the left side where there's two
cul-de-sac.
police officers that live there.
Yeah.
And if you go past their property, it's like the third or fourth house on the left. Right on the left side of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, but not at the very dead end of the cul-de-sac.
If you're driving and you're in the cul-de-sac.
Oh, I see. I got this coming north there. I know where it is. I know where it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's way up there.
It's really way up there. It's probably the farthest sitting house in that
Yeah,
subdivision.
Part of the thing that you can't tell on this plan that you guys aren't familiar because it's not your subdivision, if you were the elevation of the cul-de-sac and the finished floor of the house are probably 40 feet.
Down.
Yeah.
No.
Which is also a challenge to move the building, as you mentioned, back. The farther back you move that building, the more into the mountain we go.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of, I don't know why, but I was viewing this thing opposite directions. Yeah.
Yeah, and we kept it, the way that we're attaching to the house, we're trying to keep the side of the house with the garage, the window above it, the window by the kitchen and the window above. We're trying to keep all that intact so that we don't lose that, and then blend in the new structure with the same, I'm using the same columns that we have in the front porch, I'm using them on this little breezeway. So that when you're looking at the house, it doesn't look like
It won't look like it was added on, it'll look like it was always there, except my brick will be better laid.
You're not happy with the first
And you'll
job?
you'll never be able to match the color.
I asked Mr. French jokingly when we first met, I said, "No, are you going to ask me to do that type of brickwork? Because I can't do that."
Well, from what you've shown, I don't really have any heartburn with what you've proposed from a design standpoint, so it seems like it's going to be appropriate.
So your hardship is the building site.
The building
So-
site is really,
So take something with you to your next meeting to
Okay.
To show
To
them
lay
the
that out.
topography is the problem.
My floor plan has the topo, so I'll just explain that. But yeah, we've had to do a lot of things. I mean, we're putting a pool on the backside. We've had to do a lot. We've jumped through a lot of hoops to get that permit, and we, thank God, we have.
They plan to be in this house a while, I guess, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they are. And you know what? They are, God bless them, they can afford to do it, and they chose to stay, and they've got two beautiful girls that are going to grow up with this.
It's a nice subdivision.
Incredible
People there are really
amount.
nice,
It is, it is.
except us.
Well, I'm driving through there, and unlike many other places, there's probably one, maybe two houses now for sale, which is like unheard of, right? Nobody wants to leave that place. I think there's one house that sits vacant by the front. You know, I'm building.
That just sold,
Did it really?
yeah.
You know, I'm going to build in Cubic's garage.
I
Yeah.
kind of assumed what you talked about.
But yeah, it's a great place to live, and you know, they waited their options. Like I said, they've been chewing on this since 2006, and I think all they were lacking was somebody like me to come in and say,
Yes,
"Do it." And so it's going to be an incredible place. It really is.
Just
People
for
love
your-
it, but enhance.
If you haven't done borings back there on the site, the soil layer is very thin.
Yes. Well,
I was digging some stairs in my back hill, and I ran into
it's
rock, and I'm digging out a solid rock now. It's a lot of fun with a pick.
It's going to be an experience. One of the things that I told them, because there is an in-ground pool that we're putting in the back. We're in the process of starting that here shortly. But one of the things that I said is, okay, we're going to start digging, and I'll let you know if we find rock.
And you'll find rock on the second shovel.
But you know we will, because they're on the surface.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think all in all, this is going to be an incredible addition to this house, and I can't think of, I can't think of any negatives, of course. And like I said, if you were to look at the layout of the land and where the houses sit, there's nobody near that size of it.
Bring pictures with you. That'll be very, very influential. Because, I mean, it's a very, very long driveway. It's one of those kinds of deals that when we went trick-or-treating, it took the kids 4.5 hours to get up there and back.
I've already said I am going to lose weight in this job purposely. I'm going to park my truck down the hill so I can walk up the hill. And
Pretty good hill.
a letter from the Springs,
Yeah. What they,
Philip and Ann Spring.
oh, there's really a spring out there?
No, that's the
that's the
name.
neighbor.
Oh.
And then the Luke's over here.
Any other comments?
Nope.
We're not going to take a vote, just a courtesy review.
Okay.
Any other
comments.
questions
Thank you.
you have of us?
I think I'm good. I mean, my homeowner obviously is itching to know how this went, so I'm going to go in there and report that I think it went quite well, and we'll need to see what happens on the 19th.
Tell them the bad news is we can't really do anything, so,
Listen, I met with
Stop
the
for
guys,
suggestions.
yeah.
and they were great. They said hello.
All right. That's right. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you, good luck.
We don't have any other hearings this evening. We do have one other business. I think we should wait until everybody's here to do that.
Is that ever going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, are we,
Well, we don't have the champagne anyway.
yeah, so are we hurting if we don't have a chairman for the next month or something? All right, so
3 weeks.
with your permission, I'm going to defer item number 6 until we actually have everybody here. We'll hopefully that, if it's not next, we'll just do it next time. Okay? There's no reason to wait forever. All right, if there's no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you for attending, ladies and gentlemen. We stand adjourned.